Hold up. Imagine waking up one random Tuesday, right? Checking your phone and seeing that the coin that everyone loves to call a banker's IOU suddenly flashed a double-digit price tag. Now that feeling of, wait, did we just teleport to the future is exactly kind of what kept me glued to my charts all week. Now, here's a quick reminder. I am not a financial advisor and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile and you could lose all the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. Now, your investments are entirely your responsibility and you should know that nothing is guaranteed when it comes to investing. Now, neither I, this channel, or YouTube are liable for any losses. This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. So here's the headline that yanked me out of my morning coffee haze. An analyst nicknamed Gregor Crypto is convinced that XRP isn't just stretching after a long nap. It's actually lacing up for a sprint to $10, then possibly $18 and maybe even $27 in a matter of weeks. Yeah, weeks, not decades. Now, before you roll your eyes harder than a roulette wheel, let me kind of walk you through the breadcrumbs that I found, because the math isn't just random dart throwing, it's actually grounded in XRP's weird habit of bouncing off a sneaky line on its chart. That's the 21-period exponential moving average on a 2-week time frame. So picture this. Back in 2017, when Bitcoin had barely stopped kind of squawking past $1,000 and everyone kind of thought blockchain was some kind of Lego set, XRP had been kind of tipping over that 21 EMA line like a clumsy kid on a jump rope. Then March 2017 hit. XRP finally leapt above that line and all chaos broke loose. 7,085% chaos to be exact. 0.5 of a penny morphed into roughly 40 cents in less time than it takes to kind of binge one season of your favorite show. So you would think that that was enough fireworks, right? But no. Right? After a brief kind of faceplant back to the same EMA line, picture a cartoon character splatting into the pavement, where XRP rocketed another 1,500% plus to its famous $3.80 high in January of 2018. Now, a chart that looked like a kind of bunny hop suddenly turned into a NASA launch. Fast forward to late 2020, DeFi summer was cooling down, dog memes were warming up, and the right kind of cue on XRP repeated the trick. It poked above the 2-week 21 EMA, tiptoed around, at least up towards, I should say, 79 cents, tripped, retest the line, and then flung to $1.96, another 425% run, faster than I can finish a tub of holiday ice cream. The same dance partner, same dance floor, same lights, just different music. Now, why am I telling you ancient crypto history in 2025? And it's because Greg's chart is screaming déjà vu, baby. Now, just last November, when most people were kind of stress eating leftover Halloween candy, XRP once again hopped that magical EMA hurdle on a 2-week chart and hurtled itself up to $3.40 by mid-January. Then, shock and awe, it tripped and retested the line and started snoozing sideways. You, me, and literally anybody with a pulse saw the price sliding back to the low $2. And the Twitter kind of timeline went quiet. Consolidation is kind of the part of the movie where half the audience goes to get popcorn, right? But that's also where the plot twist is quietly loading. And so here is the punchline. Every time the XRP touched that 21 EMA, it acted like a slingshot, pulled all the way back, and kind of, based on the 2017's, 8-week catch-up and 2021's 10-week version, the math says our window for the next blastoff stretches from late July to early August. Basically, the time when most people are lying on a beach ignoring their portfolios. So if history rhymes even half as well as it did, $10 would be the conservative kind of baby step, $18 would be the mid-tier donor, and $27 would be the kind of triple layer cake. We're talking potential surges of 425%, 1,000%, and 1,600% retrospectively. So for context, a 1,600% jump turns a $2,000 bag of XRP into more than 30 grand. And that's not just kind of paying rent, that's messing with your landlord's anxiety levels. But let's go ahead and pump the brakes for a second and stare at the elephant doing cartwheels in the room. Risk. Now, XRP is no stranger to drama, right? You got lawsuits, delistings, relistings, the bankers hate it, the bankers love it, rinse and repeat. So the biggest challenge then for regular kind of people like us isn't spotting juicy price targets, they're everywhere. It's actually surviving the roller coaster without kind of throwing our phones into a river. So people kind of get wiped out, not because they bought too late, but because they panic sold just too early, or they YOLO'd leverage way too aggressively. Now, my cousin Tim once leveraged XRP at 10x, saw a quick 5% dip, and basically liquidated his dinner savings in 4 minutes. Now kind of, flinches every time he sees a Ripple logo, but we don't do that. Statistically speaking, most retail investors underperform precisely because they chase candles instead of chasing conviction backed by homework. And yes, homework can be fun if you're nerding out with friends. And that is why, if you ever feel like yelling numbers into the void, you should probably hop into our free educational Discord server. There's a link in the description. It's kind of like having a study group where no one judges you for hiding Satoshi memes in your notebook. Now, here is something cool that I noticed while deep diving into eGrag's chart logic. The EMA, it is not magic on its own. It's basically a stitched together memory of price action weighted towards recency. So let's think of it as the crypto equivalent of those most played playlists. Whenever whatever kind of gets replayed the most often kind of starts dominating the vibe. And when a price kind of slumps beneath the 21 EMA, it means that recent sentiments dragging behavior, or at least heavier, than maybe grandpa's overstuffed suitcase. So when it kind of breaks above it, traders are effectively flashing green candles that say, I'm feeling gusty, let's go. On a 2-week candle, you're compressing an entire fortnight of emotions into one rectangle. Panic, hope, caffeine highs, coffee crashes, all kind of smashed into one bar. So crossing that line, and staying above it for several candles usually signals a very big mood swing. But here is where my brain really melted. The current cycle's magnitude. Right, back in 2017, crypto's total market cap was barely flirty with $500 billion. Today, it's flirty with $3 trillion when Bitcoin alone flexes its shoulders. Now, that means that more liquidity, deeper derivatives markets, and bigger players that can actually sniff out a moving average breakout faster than you can say institutional FOMO. So add in some cross-border payment headlines, potential spot ETF rumors, and you kind of get the powder keg kind of perched on a hair trigger. And yet, even if the price target math is spotless, timing is still the cosmic prankster. Those 8 to 10 weeks, they're calculated from the retest candle closing. Not from when you get in, or I get in, or Bob on Reddit first discovers the chart, right? Candle closes, they sneak up like sneezes, right? You think you're ready, then boom, it's already printed. If you kind of take early June as the kind of retest confirmation, then late July to early August becomes the sweet and spicy window when XRP could actually shock and awe once again. But markets have a habit of luring us in with precision, only to throw us a curveball. And that's why diversifying your info sources is as important as diversifying your portfolio positions. And speaking of sources, you'll notice that I'm kind of sipping from multiple fountains here, right? There's Twitter threads, on-chain data, whale, wallet trackers, and the occasional caffeine-induced, binges at 2 a.m. Now, if you're kind of shifting through those data jungles alone, it's easy to miss a tiger hiding behind a pretty meme. Now, our Discord, again, linked down below, has people who kind of can sanity check, I guess, your hot takes before you kind of turn them into, well, cold regrets. Now, let's talk catalyst then, right? Because eGreg kind of likes the number 27 because it's been showing up in his models across different analyses, right? Drop zones, break of structure, you name it. So think of it as a kind of a football coach circling one play on a clipboard and keeps yelling, run it until they stop it. And some kind of catalysts kind of floating around include the kind of lingering SEC saga finally reaching a crisp conclusion, rumored partnerships with major banking rails, and the long kind of teased Ripple IPO. And let's not kind of discount the summer of crypto narrative that mainstream headlines love to kind of latch onto. So imagine CNBC kind of pundits wearing, Hawaiian shirts screaming about altcoin surges while Bitcoin ETF headlines the ticker tape, if you will. Now, stranger things, of course, have happened. So remember Dogecoin's outperforming the entire kind of corporations. And of course, by the way, if all of this talk makes you kind of eyes kind of fresh for trading ammo, then you want to check out the Blowfin crypto exchange using the affiliate link in the description. And yes, it's an affiliate link, meaning that it helps support the channel at no extra cost to you, which basically kind of pays for my coffee while I'm up all night writing these scripts. Now, Blowfin, of course, has been kind of pushing some pretty cool features lately, right? They kind of have tight spreads, transparent fee structures, so that you don't have to decide to jump in. At least if you decide to jump in, you're not wrestling outdated interfaces from back in 2017. All right, so tangent over and back to the story, right? The consolidation that we're living through right now is kind of a psychological Hunger Games, right? On one side, you've got the impatient swing traders hammering keyboards. And on the other side, you've got the long-term holders who kind of treat their cold wallets like, heirlooms. Historically, the EMA retest victory goes to the patient, but patience isn't just sitting still. It's understanding why you're sitting still, right? Why we humans would rather kind of press buttons, even if pressing the wrong button ejects us from the ship. Right, so the real enemy isn't really volatility, it's boredom and fear wearing matching disguises. So every good story demands a climax. So let me give you one right here, or at least an aha moment that I had last night staring at the chart. Now, I overlaid the 2017 and 2021 fractals onto the current price action, scaled them for their percentage moves, and noticed that the slopes lined up eerily kind of like three fingerprints. From the same hand, no less. It's not perfect, you never get a carbon copy in finance, but the kind of gist is unmistakable. Once XRP kisses that EMA goodbye, candles don't just drift, they explode. Now, can external shocks ruin the party? Of course. If macro environment tanks, say, global liquidity dries up or regulators launch a surprise offense, well, XRP could stall or detour. But that's kind of like saying that it might rain on your beach day, right? You pack an umbrella and you check the forecast. You don't cancel the trip entirely. And here's the human bit. If all you kind of care about is raw price, crypto will just chew you up. It's the community, the late night debates, the random acts of generosity on XRP Tipbot that actually make this space more than just green and red pixels. And that's kind of why I keep hanging around the Discord voice chats until my microphone begs for mercy. And it's also why my social circle has quietly accepted that I will, at random moments, compare Ripple's on-demand liquidity to a universal remote control for money. Hey, we all have our quirks. And so, where does that leave us? Well, if history rhymes, scheme kind of holds at least, one more kind of stanza, July or August, might actually give XRP its next shot at rewriting its all-time high lyric sheet. eGrag's 3 checkpoints, $10, $18, $27, they are not prophecy. They are just mere road signs. Whether you kind of cruise, crawl, or bail out at each one is entirely up to you and your seatbelt tolerance. Just remember, those road signs, they come with exit ramps called risk management. A stop loss isn't cowardice, right? It's insurance against your future self cursing your past self. And on the subject of future selves, remember that best performing investment might actually be time spent learning rather than kind of cash strapped into a chart. So even if XRP moons, the next 5 years will launch, entirely new ecosystems that we haven't even named yet. So keep shaping our mental kind of blades. Our Discord classroom lights are always on, and the coffee is kind of metaphorically free. The actual caffeine, however, you'll have to obviously provide yourself. Now, before we kind of wrap up, here's a quick recap, right? XRP's done the 21 EMA two-step twice before, each time leading to fireworks. A third retest just printed, pointing to late summer window for a 425 to 1,600% move. But volatility, it cuts both ways, so step very carefully, right? Keep an eye on macro catalysts, right? Legal headlines, and yes, the emotional thermostat of the market. And if you want a clean trading dashboard whilst supporting the channel, poke at that Blowfin affiliate link that's in the description. It's there for a reason. And now, if you've survived my caffeinated ramble and still have the feeling on your index finger, smash that subscribe for more kind of, scripted crypto adventures, because the next chapter might just be unfolding faster than you can hit record.